generation, something that honestly, like, there's still tension over it, right? In terms of U.S.-Japanese relations and what we did to the Japanese in America. Look no further than Rachel Maddow's excellent podcast on all of this. Yeah. But that we're asking them to come to our assistance, and this is the best he can do. What a just shameful example of both buffoonery and racism. And my heart, I mean, I watched this meme a couple of times, is you look at the Japanese prime minister just trying to hold it again together as the press corps, and David's so right to point this out, is just mortified into silence. You rarely hear that. You always hear the cameras, someone's shouting another question, but it's just the room falls silent.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, I guess this gets back to why the video games are the safest way for Donald Trump to communicate with anybody about the war, but specifically on their public utterances about what they want from allies. I mean, on the Strait of Hormuz, we'll just take that. Where are you? We want you. You're never.
Hey, it could be worse.
Everything was going great. The economy. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us.
That is Japanese Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi right next to him. Props to the one person in the room that was like, oh, instead of laughing at that horrendous point that our president just made. Oh, not only was that an insane thing to say to the Japanese Prime Minister, it was also factually incorrect. We had several heads up, plenty of intelligence letting us know that there was a problem afoot with the Japanese before Pearl Harbor. I would pay a decent sum of money to watch reaction videos individually of each living president watching that moment back. I want Obama, I want GW, I want Bill Clinton, I want Joe Biden. I want to see.
A moment at the White House is raising eyebrows after a reported joke about Pearl Harbor. During a meeting with Japan's Prime Minister, Donald Trump made a remark referencing the attack on Pearl Harbor. For context, Pearl Harbor wasn't just a moment in history. It was an attack that killed over 2,400 Americans and brought the United States into World War II. Today, the U.S. and Japan are close allies, which is why moments like this matter. Diplomacy isn't just policy. It's also tone, respect, and understanding of historical weight. Critics say joking about something like Pearl Harbor, especially in a formal setting with Japan's leadership, comes across as insensitive and inappropriate, which is right on model for Donald Trump.
I mean, what the hell with Donald Trump today in the Oval Office with Japan's Prime Minister Takaichi, saying that Japan is really good at surprises. They know about surprises. Why didn't they tell him about Pearl Harbor? No one said anything. It was dead quiet. He thought it was funny. He thought he was being clever. Seriously.
I'm sorry, he said what?
And we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Okay? Right? You know.
I mean, like, could you imagine if she just clapped back with, why didn't you tell me about Hiroshima? This guy, holy crap, he is such a national embarrassment. This is the president of the United States. Then did you notice the response from the reporters in the room that have been carefully honed down to only the people that support him when he made that statement and nobody laughed?
Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right?
Like, everybody was eager to laugh about it being a surprise, but when he said Pearl Harbor, they were like, yeah, man, you can't do that. And oh, by the way, just so we're tracking here, Donald Trump specifically said, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? That's because you were -5 years old.
Donald Trump was hosting the Japanese Prime Minister today, and he just stirred up absolute controversy as he was asked just a simple question, as Japan is one of their allies, so they wanted to know, why did you not tell any of your allies before bombing Iran? Trump immediately responded and said, well, I wanted it to be a surprise, blah, blah, blah. Then he goes on to say something stark to the prime minister. Well, why didn't you tell us about Pearl Harbor? Huh? Why didn't you warn us? Sit with that for a minute. Sit with.
So ladies and gentlemen, I'm hoping that you're all doing well today. Yeah, so welcome to the channel. So over the past few days, 3 days ago, Donald Trump had a diplomatic meeting with the Japanese prime minister, and we all know what went down. What went down wasn't really pleasing, you know, because I feel like in most cases, we as the citizens, we've given these leaders like a lot of time. We've given them a lot of leeway to just get away with it. But we all know how Donald Trump has been reacting, especially with the media and all that. So they had a discussion, and the prime minister of Japanese asked him, did you really consider to even tell your allies that you are going to bomb Iran? And I'm sure that most of you are asking yourselves, like, is it really important for somebody to do that? Yes, it is important for somebody to do that. That is normally for people, the people who are your allies, to make sure that there's no, like, they can manage the situation when it gets worse. Because now, each and every person who is a friend to the American people, they are drifting away because they do not want themselves to be associated with anything that Trump does. And in the case you've seen, like previously, the Iranian people had actually let the black people who are also caught up in there, they let them free. And then now the white people who are also in Iran, they had to face the repercussion. Why? Because your president is just associated with anything that is not even human. Look at the relationship between the American people, the USA and Canada. It was really one of a kind. But right now, the Canadian government is trying to drift away because this is a person that cannot be trusted. Trump cannot just do things. And a lot of Americans have expressed their thoughts about that issue, him mentioning the Pearl Harbor. So this means this person does not even care that during that time, a lot of lives were lost, a lot of properties were damaged. And we're talking about not just one life, we're talking about several people who got injured, several people who lost their lives, several people who lost their family in the Pearl Harbor. And was Trump really born, or maybe if he was existing during those times, I bet he was like maybe a small boy, or I don't know. But you bringing up such a thing to people who don't even know about it, and in fact, you making a joke to it, doesn't really resonate, it tells a lot the kind of a person that you are. It tells a lot that you really don't care about the impact of what you did. First of all, you bombed Iran, and Iran had nothing completely to do with you. So you are the person who went into somebody's house and started war. Yeah? So ladies and gentlemen, just in case you're new here, my name is Yvonne, and you are welcome to being part of my online family. For those who are joining me for the first time, feel welcome. And to my returning subscribers, I'm really thankful for this. Please subscribe and tell me, what do you think about this behavior? Until next time.